There are a handful of books that are coming out in the next couple of months that I am super excited for. The moment they come out, they are going on my TBR. First off, The City Inside by Samit Basu. This story sounds really fun. It's two characters from separate different lives that get caught up in the same conspiracy and kind of get shoved together. Joey is a reality controller in near future Delhi. Her job is to supervise the multimedia, multi-reality live streams of Indy, one of South Asia's fastest rising online celebrities, who also happens to be her college ex. Joey's job gives her considerable cultural power, but she's too caught up in day-to-day crisis handling to see this, or to figure out what she wants from her life. Rudra is a recluse estranged from his wealthy and powerful family, now living in an impoverished immigrant neighborhood. When his father's death pulls him back into his family's orbit, an impulsive job offer from Joey becomes his only escape from the life he never wanted. But as Joey and Rudra become enmeshed in multiple conspiracies, their lives start to spin out of control, complicated by dysfunctional relationships, corporate loyalty, and never-ending pressures of surveillance capitalism. When a bigger picture begins to unfold, they must each decide how to do the right thing in a world where simply maintaining the status quo feels like an accomplishment. Ultimately, resistance cannot take the same shape for these two very different people. The City Inside comes out June 7th. Also out June 7th is Dare to Know by James Kennedy. Our narrator is the most talented salesperson at Dare to Know, an enigmatic company that has developed the technology to predict anyone's death down to the second. Divorced, estranged from his sons, and broke, he's driven to violate the cardinal rule of the business by forecasting his own death day. The problem, his prediction says he died 23 minutes ago. The only person who can confirm its accuracy is Julia, the woman he loved and lost during her rise up the ranks of Dare to Know. As he travels across the country to see her, he's forced to confront his past, the choices he's made, and the terrifying truth about the company he works for. But I'm feeling up for these conspiracy theory thrillers. Those are great when it's like this secret society hiding behind closed doors and it's just this crazy thriller where they're out to kill you this whole time. I love that, and I hope that I can get that out of one of these two books. Next up, coming out June 21st, is In the Shadow of Lightning by Brian McClellan. Demir Grappo is an outcast. He fled a life of wealth and power, abandoning his responsibilities as a general, a governor, and a son. Now he will live out his days as a grifter, rootless and alone. But when his mother is brutally murdered, Demir must return from exile to claim his seat at the head of a family and uncover the truth that got her killed, the very power that keeps civilization turning. Godglass is running out. Now, Demir must find allies, old friends, and rivals alike, confront the powerful guild families who are only interested in making the most of the scraps left on the table, and uncover the invisible hand that threatens the empire. A war is coming, a war unlike any other, and Demir and his ragtag group of outcasts are the only thing that stands in the way of the end of life as the world knows it. Sounds like a fun epic fantasy. I personally haven't read a book by Brian McClellan, but I know a lot of people like his Powder Mage series. Next up, I was personally surprised that I was even interested in this book. It's called The Daughter of Dr. Moreau. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that last name quite correctly. By Silvia Moreno Garcia. And it comes out July 19th. There's a couple things that pull me in about this book. Number one, I read a couple magic realism books and short stories that come from the Latino culture that I surprisingly loved, despite the fact that they're kind of moody and dark and depressing. Really selling this. But along with this, it takes place in one of my favorite settings of all time, the Yucatan Peninsula. I seriously just love the Yucatan Peninsula. I went on a study abroad once and have gone back a couple times since then. I just love the culture and the vibe and the everything about it. It's just, I just love the Yucatan. I'm aware that I'm not being drawn into this on a story level, but on a personal level. But the story itself does sound intriguing. Carlota Moreau, a young woman growing up in a distant and luxuriant estate, safe from the conflict and strife of the Yucatan Peninsula, the only daughter of a researcher who is either a genius or a madman. Montgomery Lawton, a melancholic overseer with a tragic past and a propensity for alcohol, an outcast to assist Dr. Moreau with his experiments, which are financed by the Lizaldes, owners of magnificent haciendas and plentiful coffers. The hybrids, the fruits of the doctor's labor, destined to blindly obey their creator and remain in the shadows, a motley group of part human, part animal monstrosities. All of them live in a perfectly balanced and static world, which is jolted by the abrupt arrival of Eduardo Lizalde, the charming and careless son of Dr. Moreau's patron, who will unwittingly begin a dangerous chain reaction. For Moreau keeps secrets, Carlota has questions, and in the sweltering heat of the jungle, passions may ignite. Another hot author, R.F. Kuang, is coming out with a new release August 23rd. It's got a long title called Babel, or the Necessity of Violence, an Arcane History of the Oxford Translators' Revolution. 1828. Robin Swift, orphaned by cholera in Canton, is brought to London by the mysterious Professor Lavelle. There, he trains for years in Latin, ancient Greek, and Chinese, all in preparation for the day he'll enroll in Oxford University's prestigious Royal Institute of Translation, also known as Babel. Babel is the world's center for translation and, more importantly, magic. Silverworking, the art of manifesting the meaning lost in translation using enchanted silver bars, has made the British unparalleled in power, and its knowledge serves the empire's quest for colonization. For Robin, Oxford is a utopia dedicated to the pursuit of knowledge, but knowledge obeys power, and as a Chinese boy raised in Britain, Robin realizes serving Babel means betraying his motherland. As his studies progress, Robin finds himself caught between Babel and the shadowy Hermes Society, an organization dedicated to stopping imperial expansion, when Britain pursues an unjust war with China over silver and opium. Robin must decide. This one sounds cool because language magic is fun. I just like languages in general, and so this book sounds interesting to me. I love the idea of taking things that are lost in translation and turning that into a magic system, so I'm totally interested in checking out Babel. This last one, I love the cover, love the title, The Spear Cuts Through Water by Simon Jimenez. The people suffer under centuries-long rule of the Moon Throne. The royal family, the despotic emperor and his monstrous sons, the Three Terrors, hold the countryside in their choking grip. They bleed the land and oppress the citizens with the frightful powers they inherited from the god locked under their palace. But that god cannot be contained forever. With the aid of June, a guard broken by his guilt-stricken past, and Kima, an outcast fighting for his future, the god escapes from her royal captivity and flees from her own children, the triplet Terrors, who would drag her back to her unholy prison. And so it is that she embarks with her young companions on a 5-day pilgrimage in search of freedom and a way to end the Moon Throne forever. The journey ahead will be more dangerous than any of them could have imagined. I am so down for a travel adventure with a god. This one comes out August 30th, and I think is probably the one that intrigues me the most out of all of these. What do you guys think? Are any of these ones that you think you want to check out, or are there other books coming out soon that you think are more interesting? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next adventure.